Hi, I'm Jacinta Cunahan and you're watching Coast Community News 5 at 5, December the 11th. With only 15 days to Christmas, here are the top stories for this week. Council declares it has been misled by auditors. MPs and community groups speak up against PEP 11 in Canberra. Nurses and midwives protest against staff cuts. And a new pilot road sign program has begun between Transport New South Wales and the Darkinjung Land Council. These stories plus a few more are coming up in the program, but let's start with the council conundrum and go to David.
A conundrum indeed, JC. Auditors are in the sights of Central Coast Council's acting CEO Rick Hart about advice they provided on the reporting of restricted funds. It appears this may have led the council to believe it had more cash reserves than it actually did. A significant issue for the new council was the way auditors suggested that the accounts for restricted funds at the beginning of 2017, when the council was still under administration from the merger. Read all about this in today's Coast Community News. And a pilot program connecting road users to country is being rolled out across the region, with Darkinjung local Aboriginal Land Council being chosen to receive some of the first signs. We spoke with New South Wales Transport Director, Region North, Anna Zicki, Deputy Chairperson of the Darkinjung Land Council, Tina West, and our Parliamentary Secretary, Adam Crouch.
Just wanted to say I'm personally really proud of this today because we got to be one of the first places in the state to have been involved in Aboriginal artworks for our signage. So that's really special for me as the Regional Director. I think this is a very significant event for all Aboriginal people on the Central Coast. As Aboriginal people, we all know and acknowledge the Aboriginal land on which we live and work and breathe. But I think this is a significant recognition from the broader community, acknowledging both the historical content of the Central Coast, of the traditional owners, which are the Darkinjung people, and that's a meaningful, respectful acknowledgement, which is, I think, a long time coming.
So proud of these signs. The Central Coast, again, the first region to be acknowledging their Aboriginal culture, and I'm so pleased that the Darkinjung, obviously their artwork will be shown from one end of the Central Coast on our roads.
Thank you, David. The battle against PEP 11 stepped up a notch this week with multiple MPs and 2 community groups heading down to Canberra to rally the cause. Save Our Coast and Surfrider Foundation braved the cold Canberra waters, swimming out on the lake to mark their opposition. 6 MPs and 3 senators were also there. We spoke with Adrian Buchan from Avoca and Dobell MP Emma McBride about why they felt so passionate about the cause.
Yeah, look, I think PEP 11's been something that I've been concerned about, along with many tens of thousands of residents of the Central Coast for some time now. And it's been great to see over the last 6 months, parliamentarians across both sides of politics stand up in opposition to this. Unfortunately, on the Central Coast, our MP Lucy Wicks has failed to listen to the concerns in her community and stand up alongside every other member in the PEP 11 zone.
It is just so important. I have had thousands of people contact me who are opposed to PEP 11 because of its impact on our marine life, our coastline, our well-being and our way of life. It would also have a really big impact on our local economy. This is something that is senseless and should be stopped. And the only way it can be stopped is by Minister Pitt stopping it. So it's so important to have members across parties today and to join with Save Our Coast and the board riders, representing the voices of hundreds of thousands of people across Australia who are opposed to this senseless proposal.
Central Coast nurses and midwives rallied at Gosford Waterfront today against plans to cut staffing levels at Gosford Hospital's maternity ward. CCN talked to some of the attendees.
As is public knowledge now, the management plan to reduce the number of funded beds at Gosford Maternity. What this means in turn is a reduction in midwifery staff and makes it more difficult to provide a very crucial team leader role. So what that means in effect is that we could be looking after up to 6 mothers and 6 babies. Babies aren't counted as patients on maternity ward. If these babies were anywhere else in the hospital, as in emergency, kids ward, or the nursery, they would count as patients. But for some reason unknown to us, babies are not counted as patients. So that would give us 12 patients to look after in one shift, as well as act as a team leader coordinating all the crucial activities that go on in the day.
Onto events, Christmas markets are popping up all over the coast. Last week we had the Christmas fair at Mount Penang Gardens, and twilight markets are happening tonight at Niagara Park and tomorrow at Avoca. There is a lot going on the Central Coast, so get out there and enjoy the Christmas spirit. Let's move on to sport with Hayley.
Thanks, JC. We have lots of Mariners news today, starting off with some Christmas carolling. The Central Coast Mariners will launch Carols on the Coast at Central Coast Stadium on December 20. Carols will kick off at 5:30 p.m, with the Mariners taking on a young Socceroos talent identification squad earlier in the day. And just in time, the Central Coast Stadium will increase its maximum capacity to 9,820, just under 50%, with the Mariners continuing to use the stadium as their home ground for 13 games this season. And A-League Championship winning defender Stephanie Groh has signed with the Central Coast Mariners for the upcoming A-League 2021 season. The 24-year-old has played 35 games with Melbourne Victory and Brisbane Roar since debuting in 2015-16, including the 2017-18 Grand Final at McDonald Jones Stadium. Coach Stadjic embraced him as a good addition to the club's defensive stocks. And Avoca Beach will play host to a world-class surfing competition next year, with the Vizsla Central Coast Pro set to be held from the 2nd to the 7th of March 2021. And speaking of the surf, let's have a look at the surf report and the weekend weather. Saturday will be cloudy with a 40% chance of showers, winds southeasterly 15 to 25 kilometres, turning easterly in the evening. The surf will have 2 to 3 foot conditions with a south groundswell in the afternoon. Sunday will be partly cloudy with a 50% chance of showers, winds east to southeasterly 15 to 25. The surf will ease with south groundswell in the 2 to 4 foot range across the region and will combine with slow building short period east to southeasterly wind swell, showing more size in the afternoon. Back to you, JC.
Thanks, Hayley. Local artist Mike Rubo has opened an Avoca retrospect exhibition in Avoca this week. We popped down for a quick peek.
Being a sort of a documentary artist, somebody who records, so my work is not really fantasy or anything abstract. Hello, Angela. I thought if I paint it in all its manifestations, maybe that'll make people value it.
All of these stories and thousands more are available on our website, and don't forget to pick up a copy of this week's Coast Community News, Coast Community Chronicle and Pelican Post. Subscribe to all of our socials to stay updated during the week. We leave you today with a recently released locally filmed concept art project by songwriter Elika called Datillo. It's retro, it's funky, so take a look and we will see you next week.